first starting off, can you just tell us your name, the year you graduated Delaware State, and your major when you did?
My name is Sade Truiett. I graduated from DSU in 2010. And my major at the time was English education with a minor in psychology.
Nice.
Yeah.
And speaking of your major, how did you decide to come to Delaware State University?
It was not my first choice. Del State was not even on the list of options for me to come. I was raised in Delaware, born and raised, sheltered church girl, and wanted to do anything outside of Delaware. And Spelman was a choice of mine. I always thought being at an all-girls school would be so powerful for myself. Living in Atlanta, having that whole Hillman College dream, in a different world. And my dad took me to Atlanta for a weekend trip. I'm laughing because I didn't make it a day. We had to go do the whole visit thing and all that stuff. And it was like, oh, you're gonna spend the night here. And I'm like, without my mom and dad? I got, with these girls I don't know? No, this ain't for me. So we came back home, and my school at the time, Cincinnati High School, shout out to CR, they were doing a college tour, and I didn't even know what an HBCU was. That's just how sheltered I was. I was a military brat. And we came to the SU for a visit, and I fell in love with the campus. And there was a sense of home here. It was a sense of safety here. What they were offering us in terms of student activities and opportunities was just really awesome to me. And without me even knowing, Del State, so I came to visit, and then we had senior night where they give you awards and stuff. And so without even knowing, I got a full ride to Del State as an undergrad because of my grades and my SAT scores, which I had no idea. And so I felt like that was God telling me that DSU was the best option for me. And when I came on campus and experienced college life here, it was culture shock because, mind you, I'm coming from a sheltered upbringing and all that stuff, but it was going to Del State has been one of my top 3 best decisions that I've ever made in my life, and I take nothing from my journey here.
That is so relatable because my story is quite similar, and I know many more, especially when it comes to not knowing what HBCU was, not wanting to come to Delaware, not wanting to stay in Delaware, and the fact that you found a home and you truly love it here and you come back. Yeah,
and family here. This is my family. I come on, it feels good to come on campus, and although a lot of people have left campus and I don't know them, but it's still a sense of home here. I have an amazing relationship with the board, and shout out to Dr. Tony Allen, who's an amazing president, who's been a mentor to me, has been someone that has always been that quiet voice in my ear, reminding me of the greatness that God has put in me, but also the things that I've learned here at DSU. And had great presidents while I was here, great professors. Shout out to Dr. Marina Nurse and Dr. Renee Young and Dr. Ali Young, who I'm sure we'll ask you questions about particular things, but just there were some really good people in my life here at DSU. I mean, down to the CAF staff, Miss Keisha, Miss Kim, and the late Miss Patterson, who made sure I ate every day. I had no meal plan for forever, and I didn't miss a meal. You know what I mean? So people like that made my journey amazing. So, and my friends, I have friends from DSU that I still have to this day. I met some of my best friends here, some of my sister girls here who were older than me, but we've been on this journey together. So, good place to be.
I'm talking about that sense of home. Home brings a lot of memories. So what is your favorite memory at Delaware State University?
The step show. The step show. But back in my day, the step show was the thing to go to.
Yeah.
So for homecoming, there was a step show, and we always had a concert. And one year they brought out, we brought out Jay-Z. We brought out Beyonce one year. We brought out, what's that guy's name? That we all get hype over his song, Dreams and Nightmares. Who sings that? Meek Mill. There we go. Brought him out. Back in my day, there was this rapper called, he's from Philly, Freeway. He came out one year. It was homecoming was the week. And being someone that never experienced a party life, oh my God, so the step show was the highlight of my time here. And then because I was interested in Greek life, being able to see what Greek life was and being able to experience that, all of my friends, I'm the only one that not pledged when I was in school. All of my girlfriends pledged. So not to speak too much about their journey, but I was able to experience their journey with them. But the step show was my thing. That was something I look forward to every year. And then on Fridays, I don't know if it's still the same, it was Ghost Town on campus. So on Fridays, everybody kind of found their way to go home, whether you were in Dover and from Delaware or not. But I like being here on Fridays because it was quiet. So it's kind of got a chance to kind of chill.
That quiet definitely has not changed on Fridays.
I want to be left alone, quiet.
Fridays are definitely the same. I wish our homecoming spellings weren't the same. So we're going to take note of that one.
Yes. And like on Sundays, we had like a gospel concert, like the Clark sisters, Sade Truiett, like the big names came on campus. I'm very disappointed that we're not doing that for those students who don't party, who don't, want to do that. But Sundays is like the big thing where, I mean, we had the big names like the big names you guys see in gospel music were here on campus, and we had an amazing concert. So I need to champion that somewhere to kind of get that back going.
Yeah, that definitely is something that I know students here would love, and that we should definitely get rolling.
Yes.
And talking about experiences, sometimes college isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
So were there any moments in college where you felt like it just wasn't working for you, and how did you overcome that?
Well, college was always an option for me. It wasn't the schoolwork that was an issue. I just think I experienced heartbreak on campus. I didn't date anyone on campus while I was here, but I went through a crazy heartbreak with my high school sweetheart. And so my sophomore year was dark for me. I don't really remember it a whole lot. Battling what I know now to be depression and the trauma and drama of loving someone who didn't love you back, and also having to navigate college life and not have a support system. That was hard for my sophomore year. So life happens. You have to keep going to class, you have to keep showing up. But I would say that the reason I remember Dr. Nurse so well is because I will never forget the day in African American Lit where I came into class and she was like, Sade, you need to go home. And I was like, no, I'm fine. She was like, no, something's wrong. I was like, no, I'm totally fine. I'm fine. I'll read the passage, I'll highlight, take the notes today. And she was like, no, you need to go home. And what she did not know was that was a heavy day for me dealing with that situation. And when I went home, I had anxiety so bad that I was nervous breakdown. And I almost lost my mind over a boy. And when I came back to campus, I was embraced with love. I didn't tell everybody what's going on, but people, they know when something's wrong. And I've never been through anything like that before. And so not only did my faith have to get stronger, but just I had to grind even harder for my schoolwork, because I had missed some time. Because when it happened, I think I took like 2 weeks off from school. So I like make up time and go to tutoring and all those things, and just have to navigate that, like have to figure out what was next for me. And I thought my life was over. I loved this person and they didn't love me the way I wanted to be loved. And when you think at 23 or 22, you're planning your life to be a forever type of thing, and you got these classes, you have these honor classes, you have the expectation for your parents, you're still trying to be on a dean's list, you're trying to figure out who the heck you are, you're trying to figure out, all the things that are happening in the midst of college. That was a rough time for me, but I'm so grateful to God. I'm so grateful that even in my college years, I kept close to God. And so that really helped me get through that hard time.
That's amazing, and that's definitely something a lot of students go through. I've gone through being here on campus, because we change so much, and life changes so fast here. Yeah. So with that, what advice would you give someone who's going through those hard times, who's dealing with all these changes, anxiety, like you said?
Yeah, I think we have to talk about it. I think I didn't talk about it. I was raised in a culture and a community where we didn't talk about mental health. What happens in this house stays in this house. Oh, we'll pray about it. Oh, you'll be fine. You're just having a bad day. All those things. I think that you have to be real about how you feel about the condition of your mind, and find people that you can lean on and talk to about those things. And college can be like high school sometimes with females, and even with guys. 1 week we rocking and rolling, the next week, whatever. So I think you have to really stay close to the people that mean you well, and to be open and not be afraid to get the mental health support. And I've heard the issues done an amazing job in bringing on the mental health support. But I have a strong sense of self when it comes to Sade. Like, you might shake me a little bit, but I'm always on bounce back. You know what I mean? I think that comes from my belief in God and just what my mother and parents have instilled in me, that I was, life did shake me, but I think when you know who you are, despite what's happening around you, that you always going to bounce back. And I want to tell that to young women in college now, like, dream, I used to sit in the library and I would dream about my life, outside of the issue. I would write dreams down on my papers and notebooks, like dream, get lost in what it feels like to dream, and let yourself evolve into the woman that you want to be. So, get help, go talk to somebody, get the help you need, take the medicine if you need to be on medicine. There's no shame in that. On campus, find a student group. I was very active in student groups and activities on campus that kept me focused, and I was a part of the spiritual thing. We had it's called the SWAT team when I was here, Soul Winning Action Team. And so we met weekly, and they took us to church, and we would volunteer in the community. We did all those things to kind of keep our minds gone. But the biggest thing to do when you're going through a valley of hard time is you keep going. You don't stop, right? If I stop, it's not going to get any better. You have to keep going, and you have to find that strength to keep growing. And you know, and stay away from this weed and this vaping and all this crazy stuff. I mean, have a drink if you're 21, you know. Drink responsibly, but if you know you deal with depression and anxiety, I'm not sure if having too many of those is okay. You know what I mean? Like, be real with yourself, right? So, and I didn't have a whole lot of, so when I came to college, I had a bunch of friends. But my senior year, it was just me and my 4 still standing. So that was a big change for me too, coming to college and having friends. And then, you know, leaving with a few. I had a brother that played in the NBA at the time, so it was a whole lot going on. And so, but find a community, get the help that you need, mental help that you need in terms of that, and don't be ashamed. You know, I think sometimes we go through things, we think we're the only one going through a rough season. That is a lie from the pits of hell. That once you get strong, you got to go back and strengthen the whole squad. So, and I stand on that.
Yeah. And with this change, academics change.
Yeah.
The classes get harder, things get tougher.
Yeah. How
did you deal with that? As well as how did you deal with finding internships and growing in your field? Yeah,
so I like school. So, you know, I'm all in for a challenge. You know, academics, you know, were not something that I struggled with while I was here. You know, I maintained my grades, maintained my GPA. I was a tutor. I was a peer tutor. So I can't necessarily speak to that piece of it, but there is tutoring available and things of that nature. But yeah, I see, how did I deal with the challenge of the grades and what else?
As well as finding internships. Opportunities.
So the Career Development Center, I don't know what it's called here, like it was a Workforce Development Center, but the Career Development Center was my best friend. And Dr. Alliong, Sandra Alliong, I don't know if she's still here, she came to me one day, this little tiny lady, little cute self, but she looked real little. And she said, Sade, you know, I want to talk to you. And I've never had her as a professor. And this is a testament that, like, when opportunity is knocking, you open the door. And I was like, okay, what do you want to talk to me about? She was like, my friend Darren Harris, who was from Delaware, loved Dr. Alliong. And so he would always tell me about Dr. Alliong and all the things. And she said, I want to talk to you. Darren told me that you might be interested in the opportunity that I have. And she was like, it's a summer program. It's going to cause you to travel. Oh, no. No. She's like, it's a summer program. It's going to cause you to travel. We're going to pay for you to travel. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. Dr. Nurse, I don't know about that. So thought about it again, and the program was called the Thurgood Marshall College Fund Program. When I tell y'all, I had the best junior and senior year of my life. Every summer, they sent us somewhere, like California. We spent a summer in DC. We spent a summer across the nation, paid for everything, and we got trained as educators, because I was going to school to be a teacher, and it changed my world. Like, I just tapped into the opportunity. Had I said no, I wouldn't have missed an opportunity. But we went everywhere. I met Cory Booker, who was still a dear mentor to me, who, you know, Senator Cory Booker ran for president. I met the founders of BET, Fortune 500 people. I sat in rooms with people. It was amazing. It opened up my eyes to, like, yeah, education is an amazing industry, but there's so much more we can do with education. Some of my best friends, Dr. Dallas is a superintendent for the schools in Chicago. I met him through the Thurgood Marshall College Foundation. Darren is a teacher down in Seaford. We're still friends to this day. Like, I don't know, it was just an amazing thing. Like, that was the best thing that ever happened for me. So from that, because of that internship or whatever, that opportunity, when it was time for me to get a job in teaching, it was easy because I had been to all these places, did all this work with education, that to get a teaching job, it was so easy. And also it showed people that I was willing to take a chance. And like, we were everywhere. We were so many places. It was amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
And you spoke about your teaching field.
Yeah.
How has that been since college?
So I left college and did not go straight to teaching. The truth is, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I left the issue. Let me just be honest. Like, you get this degree, and there's a lot of pressure to go right into the workforce. I went straight and got a master's. I got a master's in public administration. The best thing I ever did for myself was a year program, intense program. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't really want to do I didn't know. I just didn't know. So I was getting my master's, and I was a store manager at Victoria's Secret, and I worked myself up at Victoria's Secret that they wanted me to be the general manager. I met the general manager. She said, I don't take vacation. I don't have weekends off. No, thank you, sis. It's a no for me. It's a no. Y'all can keep that little job. It's a no for me. We're going to pay you 6 figures. It's a no for me. I could not imagine my life being that busy, but I love sales. I love Victoria's Secret. I mean, I was doing my thing. They were sending me to other stores to train other people. Like, I had this thing on me with that, but I did not want to be a general manager. And then my dad was like, okay, your little master's program is over. You just spend all my money. You gotta get something with some benefits. What we doing? And I was like, dang on it. So what I gotta do? So my church opened a school, Kingdom Christian Academy, and my pastor was like, hey, come teach for us. And I was like, for what? He was like, come teach for us. You have a degree in teaching, help us out, whatever. And did it for 3 years and had a great time. But I was like, Lord Jesus, this is not for me. Like, I can't be in this classroom all day. And I saw the inequities in the classroom and teachers in there for 8 hours. It was just a lot happening. There were so many needs that those kids needed that I'm like, how in the world can I teach kids that are hungry, teach kids that are home? Like, I'm trying to Google how to get them resources and support them. Like, God, like, I just feel like I'm so strapped here. What can I do? And so when I was 28 years old, I got an opportunity to lead a charter school. And I left there straight into education leadership. The best job I ever had, leading a charter school here in Dover, an amazing experience. And when I got to the charter school, they said, these little kids, it's a Title I school. You're just here to be here for a year because we're going to close it down. So you're just here to just hold a spot. I said, not on my watch. I said, what do we have to do to keep open? They're like, we have to go through a formal review. I said, let's go through a formal review. Let's do it. And so by the grace of God and amazing people, that school is still up and running to this day, right? So from a 1-year position, I was there for 3 years, an amazing position. And in that, I started Girl Talk, this program that I'm sure you'll ask me about later. But I'm saying that to say, so when I left that school, I left the opportunity burnt out, tired. I was young. So of course, when you're young, you have all this energy. You don't know anything about work-life balance. So I left the opportunity and went into the nonprofit world. My brother started a nonprofit and I worked for a nonprofit. And then, can I be honest? I missed school leadership, but I didn't want to tell anybody that, right? So, and where am I at now? In school leadership. God is so good. He'll give you the desires of your heart. So when I left, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know. I was like, a job? I got a dad. A job? What? Nah, I'm good, homie. I'm good. Missy with all that. So, yeah.
That's definitely my mindset. I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I might be leaning on my dad a little bit.
Yeah. And I think after college, you need a year to kind of catch your breath. I mean, so much has happened in 4 years that you become you're a whole new person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe in too long of a break because then you miss your momentum, but it's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a break.
Yeah. So you talked about a lot of connections you gained over the years, especially being at Delaware State, going through your career field. How does one build the connections you built?
You have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to be in programs and a part of things that stretch you, make you uncomfortable. By nature, by default, I'm a sociable girl. Like, I love people. Like, I enjoy it. I love meeting people. But if you get me by myself, I'm like, leave me alone, please. I'm so cool right here. Like, and nothing's wrong, but I think that you have to be okay being in rooms like that don't look like you, right? You have to be okay with serving on a board. You have to put your hand up to say, yes, I'll go to the meeting and opportunities that people ask me about the work that I do in Kent County, and it's because I said yes. It's because I was able to serve on different committees and task force because people would ask me. And even when I didn't have the skill set, I never said no to an opportunity. So I say yes to the opportunities because I think meeting people is awesome. That your degree gets you a certain place, but it's not what you know, it's who you know. Every job that I've had, it's not been a send me your resume. It's like, I heard about you from so-and-so. Blah, blah, blah. Let's make it work. You know what I mean? So I still am part of leadership programs. I'm still a part of cohorts and continuing training, but get in the room. If you want to be in the room, get in the room. You know what I mean? Like, jokingly, I want to be in the scholarship ballroom. So I know the people who I talked to, I was in here like, hey, get me in the room. What I gotta do to get in that room? I want to be in that room. I need to meet some people in that room. How can I be a part of that room? But if I didn't have a connection already established, it would be a whole issue to kind of get there. So it's all about, who you know, and sometimes I'll use her because she's in the room. My dear, I affectionately call her my baby sister. she does a lot in the community, and we have a connection that's not work related. We just have a connection that we just love each other, you know, a connection like that. But people that love you will bring your name up, and you have no idea. And so you'll get these phone calls about opportunities, and somebody that loves you brought your name up because you're good to people, right? So it doesn't make sense to get on all these committees and all these boards, but then you don't follow up with your commitments. You don't keep your word. You know what I mean? You have to be good to people, and people will be good back to you. So I think that's a core value for me. Like, be good to people. It'll come back to you.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Especially what you're saying. It's not what you do it's not what you know, it's the people you know.
Yeah.
I live by that. That's definitely something I feel like got me way farther, especially in a small town like Delaware. It's definitely something that I feel like got me way farther than actually what I know.
Yeah.
And you talked about how you don't always stay in your career field. No. And you spread out in that when you talked about you working at Victoria's Secret, but also you talking about your nonprofit Girl Talk.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's not a nonprofit, but
your organization.
My skill set is PR communications, and so that's my skill set is PR communications. When I was at the charter school, when I was a sassy 28-year-old, I was the only Black woman in leadership in the building. And it was a Title I school, meaning that over 60% of the population looks like you and I. And they're coming from backgrounds where they're disadvantaged and underserved. And so school is oftentimes their only place of safety, their only time that they get a meal, the only time that they're cared for. And I took that personal when I was at the school. And I knew that God put me there not to help turn around the culture, but to also to serve, but I didn't know who at the time. So probably like 3 days on the job, these 3 Black girls come knock on my door and say, "We want to talk to you. Oh my God, you're so this, you're so that." And I just never had the time to do it. And so probably like the 4th time they asked me, I said, "You know what, girls, on Saturday, if you get a ride to the building, I'm gonna open up the building. We're gonna go in the gym. I'm gonna order some pizza. We're gonna sit down and we're just gonna talk." And 3 girls became 6 girls, became 18 girls, became 30 girls, became 100 girls, to the point that we had to make the program a school-wide program. And so Girl Talk is called Gifted, Intelligent, Royal Leader. And it's my mission field to empower every single young girl that comes across my path with confidence and leadership and self-esteem. Because when I got out from that floor and I was 23 at Del State and had a nervous breakdown, I said no one else will crush me like that. And every girl that comes to my presence, she's gonna know her worth. And so I'm intentional. We bring in guest speakers to talk about college, talk about sex, talk about boys, talk about church, we talk about all the things. And I'm excited to share that 95% of my girls have gone to college and graduated, right? So we know that when we begin to build up the little girl, she becomes a woman with vision, a woman that does amazing things. And so I'm proud of that work. I love my babies. I'm so honored and blessed that they gave me the numbers the other night that Girl Talk has touched 2,192 lives. And so, you know, that's not Sade on her own. That's amazing people that love me and support the work. That is parents and school districts and all the people that wrap their arms around that, trust me and my voice to be a part of that. And I love it. You know, as busy as I am, I make time for my babies. I make time for them. And so from Girl Talk, women have come into the picture, right? So then I started to call the Empowerment Circle with grown women. And we packed out a conference room. It was so many women in this conference room. Have a witness in the room that we had to end up finding other places to have, you know, the Empowerment Circle. And from the Empowerment Circle, it just began to, God has just used that work to do amazing things. And so I'm just honored to be trusted with that. So yeah, I'm intentional about that work.
I can see that. I definitely can see from your tone why people want to listen to you, why people want to be around you.
Sweet. Thank
you just have such a pulling energy, such a growing energy that just makes you want to talk and listen and just smile and chat. So I definitely understand.
Anytime.
Yes, and so to end this off, I just want to ask you, honestly, what is your biggest accomplishment in life so far?
Whoa.
I know it's intense, and you can say a couple things, but we always want to live our life with gratefulness and appreciation. And I feel like one of the biggest things to do that is just acknowledging the things that made you happy in this world and the things that you really feel proud of yourself for, because you did it.
My biggest accomplishment is breaking the generational curse of the spirit of rejection. That I come from a lineage of women who did not believe in themselves, and no fault on their own. They just have been raised in atmospheres and environments that they weren't told how wonderful and amazing that they were. And so sometimes that comes down to bloodline, right? And so you have a choice to say, I'm going to break it and be the best, or I'm going to succumb to this. And so if you know anything about generational trauma, it is work. It is hard work. It is gut-wrenching work. And I'm so proud that Sade did not allow what happened to her in her childhood to stop her from becoming all of what she's supposed to be. Because if life had its way, I wouldn't be sitting next to you, right? If life had its way, I would be depressed and anxiety driven. If life had its way, I wouldn't know my worth and value. If life had its way, I would have been counted out a long time ago. If life had its way, I would never graduate and have a master's degree. If life had its way, I would not open up my mouth and declare the goodness of our God and begin to speak life into you and speak life into the room. And I'm so glad that every day I fight that monkey off my back and I remind myself of who I am and what I've accomplished. I don't need no one else to tell me how great and wonderful I am. It's great. I'm grateful. There was a season I did need that. But I was so grateful that I can stand on my own 2 feet and look in the mirror and say, girl, you're doing your thing only by the grace of God, only because I have amazing people that love me and support me. But I think for me, the greatest accomplishment is fighting demons and devils that I never asked for. And that I'm able to stand in the face of them and say, I won. And I'm going to win.
That is amazing.
No,
and I love that for you.
Thank you so much.
And I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Yes,
to be here today. Definitely appreciate it.
Anytime. Anytime you need me, I'm here.